I think the people of New York, particularly the people of New York 27, are sick of the corruption on both sides. We had Chris Collins, which we all know the history about Chris Collins and his history of corruption and crimes and pleading guilty to said crimes, hence this special election. And that's on the Republican side. And then on the Democratic side, we have Andrew Cuomo as our governor. And how many of his officials were busted for corruption as well? So I think the people of New York 27 are just sick of the same two-party corruption on both sides, no matter where you look, red or blue. In New York State, particularly in New York 27, you're going to be lied to. So at least with me, I'm going to tell you the truth about everything, like it or not. Yeah, I am absolutely way more in touch with the people of this district than a Fox News correspondent named Beth Parlato. I was born and raised in the Finger Lakes, grew up in Wayne County, went to Finger Lakes Community College, was all Greater Finger Lakes for track and field in high school, lived in Canandaigua, live in Victor now, have been born and raised in the Greater Rochester, Western New York area my entire life. Like born and raised here, I should say, and live here now. And Beth Parlato does not represent the people of New York 27. Yeah, not at all. I am running on queer, radical, anti-capitalist, anti-fascist, anti-imperialist, revolution, or bust. I'm not about like fitting into the political system. I'm here to disrupt the political system. The problem has been business as usual, and I'm not here for any of that. I am openly anti-fascist, openly anti-imperialist, and openly anti-capitalist. And I don't believe that like pseudo-progressive incrementalism is going to get us anywhere. We've tried that, and it doesn't work. So. The biggest issues that people are having in New York 27 is that they don't have representation and haven't had representation. So they're just happy that anybody's talking to them and actually telling them the truth. And some of the that's one of the major concerns that people have in New York 27 is this corruption and being lied to by the people that supposedly represent them, and the people that supposedly represent them not representing them. Um, Yeah, you could say that some of my ideas are not in the mainstream. But if you look at what's currently in the mainstream now that wasn't a month ago, you have people on every single mainstream media channel talking about defunding the police, abolishing the police, radical reforms that they weren't talking about in the mainstream media even a month ago. Well, I was talking about these things 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. What sounds radical to you or extreme to some isn't to others. And I think what's really radical and what's really extreme is to keep living this same way where we're being screwed over. I think is radical, is to continue this same bullcrap. Um, I'm going to accomplish my goals in Congress by not backing down on what I believe in and not compromising, and not being swayed by meeting quote unquote influential politicians. Like, take, for example, my Democratic opponent, Nate McMurray. He met Joe Biden one time in 2018, and he hasn't shut up about it for 2 years. All he does is trip over himself to talk about how great Joe Biden is. Joe Biden is a decent guy, and Joe Biden came here. And came here to help Nate McMurray. So my thing is if Nate McMurray can meet one war criminal in his life, and he's so starstruck about it that he can't stop talking about it for 2 years, what the heck is he going to do when he gets to Congress and he meets a room full of war criminals? New York 27 and this country as a whole deserves a representative who will confront these war criminals, and I'm exactly that person. And I could prove it because one time last year, I ran into world famous war criminal Elliot Abrams on the streets in New York City. Elliot Abrams, foreign policy advisor for the Bush administration, Trump administration, responsible for atrocities all around the world. And I followed Elliot Abrams on the sidewalk for 10 straight minutes, calling him a war criminal to his face and asking him how he sleeps at night with the blood on his hands of the millions of people that he's genocided around the world. And that's the kind of approach that I will bring to Congress. So I'm not going to be shaking hands and being friends with people like Joe Biden and other war criminals like Nate McMurray. And I'm certainly not going to be kissing Trump's butt like Chris Jacobs. So the people of New York 27 are going to get a representative who will actually stand up for what he believes in and has a track record that proves it. So you're saying how do I accomplish something in a place that's known for accomplishing nothing? I'm very interested in how the others are going to accomplish this, considering their parties haven't accomplished jack crap either in Congress. And so I think I have just as good of a chance of accomplishing things in Congress as anybody else, because I think that the people of this country, the people of this world are ready for change. They're sick and tired of the same crap. They're sick and tired of the politicians. They're sick and tired of capitalism, and it's time for a change. Let's clarify that. The Monroe County, yes. Okay, well, let's clarify that. The Monroe County Green Party condemned my actions. A statement that they have since removed from your website, their website, and the entire internet after they were condemned by the organizers of Black Lives Matter Rochester, Free the People Rochester, told Monroe County Green Party that they were wrong, and they removed their statement. And that is only the local Monroe County Green Party, right? I have been unanimously endorsed by the National Queer Caucus of the Green Party. I've been unanimously endorsed by the National Youth Caucus of the Green Party. I've also been elected as a presidential delegate to the Presidential Nominating Convention for the Green Party by the Youth Caucus. And I also serve on 3 national committees of the Green Party that I was elected to by the Queer Caucus. Furthermore, I was recently elected the co-chair of the National Dispute Resolution Committee of the entire Green Party of the United States. So the fact that 4 or 5 pearl-clutching white people in the Monroe County Green Party went against the wishes of the organizers of Free the People Rochester and Black Lives Matter Rochester and spoke out of turn, that's on them, not on me. If I could, I would like to say that for those that don't know, I'm a stand-up comedian, but I'm also a direct action activist, and I've been on the front lines of movements all around this country for several years. I was in Standing Rock, North Dakota when they were attacking people with water cannons and rubber bullets and tear gas and attack dogs. I was there when Trump was inaugurated, when DC militarized police were beating people in the streets and openly pepper spraying and tear gassing people in the streets. I was in Houston after Hurricane Harvey hit, rebuilding people's homes with Black Lives Matter Houston, doing volunteer work in a hazmat suit to help the people that were most affected by the hurricane. I was in Flint, Michigan, talking to people about the water crisis. I have shut down KKK rallies in several states around the country. I've stood up to war criminals, and up until this year, when I decided to run for office, I was a representative of an indigenous peoples organization called the International Native Tradition Interchange, which has consultative status on the United Nations Economic and Social Council. So I'm not like just some guy off the street, and I'm not some person that's a stranger to this work, and I'm not a stranger to these movements. I've been very much a part of every social movement around this country for several years, and I'm going to continue to be, and I hope to continue to bring that activist spirit to Western New York, particularly right now when you could see the streets are alive all around this country. There is an uprising happening. It's happening in Buffalo. It's happening in Rochester. The direct action activists have never been more on point in Rochester and Buffalo and in our area than they are right now. Between the deoccupied zone in Buffalo and the Free the People Rochester movement, I have never been more proud to be a activist in Western New York. And I am very grateful to be on the ballot for Congress in the New York 27th district. And a vote for me is a vote for direct action, for a person that isn't afraid to stand up and stand on things sometimes too.